Anthony Gordon for VRAAM at G Brothers Monavale. Today we've got something quite special. So VRAAM is all about mental miles, and we have with us today Gags, as people know him. He's actually the founder of Crossing the Line, and they're set up to help athletes transition from professional sport into the real world, both mentally and training wise. So good to have you, Gags.
Great to be here.
Mate, this is a big undertaking for someone like Root, but talk us through what things athletes and other people actually go through from attempting something like this, and then it's all over and they've got to go back into the real world.
Yeah, it's a bit of an adjustment. I mean, if you spend your whole life focused on one thing, and everything is kind of all your family, friends, all your support network, everything is like going towards this one point. It's an incredible build-up, and it's kind of like a privileged position to be in, to be able to prepare for something that much. But then when it's all over, it can kind of be a bit of a hit. So because you don't have that passion and purpose the next morning, like you're not waking up to go training, you're not waking up to go racing, you don't have that pressure that we love as athletes. And so when we don't have that pressure on us, life can feel a little bit more mundane, and so people struggle with that for sure.
So what do you do? What are some of the techniques you apply? How do you get them back onto that road of recovery?
Well, it's a bit complex because people retire in many different ways. So some people retire because they get injured, some people retire because they're deselected, some people retire because they got sick of it. So they're all very different processes. If you get injured, for instance, like you probably have a sense that you had your, career taken from you. So you have to really process that grief and loss part of it. You have to kind of readjust to the fact that you're not going to be competing anymore, and that you're going to have to look at tying your identity to something else. That process can take a long time, like if you're not prepared. So it's really about finding that passion and purpose in your life that will kind of wake you up in the morning. And it's very hard for athletes because sport is very special. It's a very rare kind of environment, and a lot of athletes really struggle to find that thing or maybe to replace what they had before. You're probably not going to replace it, but you can definitely find something that will motivate you to get up in the morning and do something, that you feel is worthwhile with your life. You know,
and exercise is key. I mean, we've got obviously the 60-17 initiative, which is exercise. 60 minutes a week can reduce depression around the world by up to 17%. I mean, how important is just doing any exercise for your mental well-being?
Very important. And the thing is, for athletes, they spend maybe 6 hours, or depending on your sport, 4 to 6 hours a day training. So you're getting that kind of feel-good chemicals, dopamine coming through your body every day. So you are kind of treating yourself every day, you know. So, but then when you stop, that's gone, and your brain chemistry can get kind of messed up, and you don't have that flow of dopamine every day. That can really affect people. And like we all know that this stuff does, look, exercise is good for your mental health, but we actually kind of sometimes don't do it, like even though we know it. And really these challenges like this that Rupert's doing are very important for athletes, because you're striving towards this goal, this kind of unattainable goal, and so that kind of stimulates you to train, which then gives you that dopamine hits every day. Whereas if you don't have that goal, you generally won't do it. I mean, like that's for me for sure.
So when professional athletes leave that 6 to 8 hour a day training, will an hour a day give them enough to supplement what they've had? I mean, do you need a new drug, or can you continue with a lower dose?
Absolutely, you can continue with a lower dose. I mean, like an hour a day is loads. But the trouble is with athletes is that they think that looking at an hour a day is nothing, and so they just go like, if I'm not going to do it 4 hours, I'm not going to bother. So, but like 1 hour a day is heaps, and it's something personally that I've struggled with doing. I've struggled to do an hour a day, and so this 60 thing that I'm doing is brilliant for me, because it's the longest sustained kind of exercise I've done for 12 years. I'm doing 12 days, 1 hour a day because of this challenge, and it's the longest stint I've done since I finished sport myself. So challenges are great for this because they're kicking my ass to do it. And when you see Rupert, who's going to be sitting here for 12 days doing this, it's just inspirational, you know.
Excellent. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. So that's Gags. What people don't realise is that Rupert's not a professional athlete. He's done a lot, but he's not a professional athlete. Now, you might notice he's not there right now, And with these things, we had a plan of doing, one block of sleep, 20 hours a day. With ultra endurance sport, and with most sports, I'd say you have to change your approach. And he was going through a bit of a flat spot today, so we've changed it to having maybe an hour break with a rub down and food, sort of every 6 hours. So rather than being stagnant and go, okay, you know what, it's not working, let's see what happens, doesn't work with ultra endurance. And what we're finding with a lot of VRAAM in particular, athletes that are racing, they're struggling. I mean, we spoke with Marco Balla earlier this morning, who's leading VRAAM, and he tore a muscle in his leg. He didn't want to back off the bike. He took 3 hours off with the physician. He's back on it. So I think what Gags was saying as well, it's about adapting on the go and making sure that you're not fixed with one specific task. But the most important thing, keep up the exercise. Mate, an hour a week will do a massive difference. An hour a day will do even more. So until next time, this is VRAAM, live from G Brothers Motorvar.